I'm running faster than I ever have. Like I couldn't run in college like I can now for sure.
That's John Metchie backing up. Wait, let me fact check this. Yeah, yeah. He's looking as fast as he ever has. And that's been one of the big stories in camp this year is that as the Texans have this trio of freakishly talented wide receivers starting, John Metchie, who a lot of people had tabbed as a guy that might not make the team, he's looking every bit, not just like he might make the team, but that he could end up being a much bigger contributor this year than he was last year when he had 16 catches. John Metchie, for those of you who don't know the story, born in Taiwan, lived in Africa, went to Canada, ended up moving to the U.S. in high school so he could play American football in America, and ended up going to Alabama, tore his ACL in his final season there, got drafted by the Texans in the second round in 2022, came down with leukemia, diagnosed with leukemia in 2022. And like for us as spectators, it's felt like a long 2 years with John Metchie. I can only imagine what he's been through. But this training camp, after hearing a lot of reports from CJ Stroud and Tank Dell and all these other guys who are working out with him at some of these offsite workouts that CJ was having all year, they were just gushing about him, just how different he looked, how he was ready to go. And you know, you hear this stuff in the offseason and you wonder, okay, is CJ just being cool to his friend? No, he wasn't. I don't know if CJ hated John Metchie, which he doesn't, he would have to say the same thing. He's running vicious routes, and it's been really cool to see him working with Stefon Diggs, because when you watch Stefon Diggs run a route, you kind of watch and you see Metchie, and you're like, okay, I see some elements. I see some elements there. They're kind of similar body types, like stockier little dudes, and Metchie is just looking like a completely different version of himself. He went on a little bit about just how much different he feels this year. This is on he was on with Brandon Scott and John Lopez on Sports Radio 610 this morning. They did a great job with him.
And then I think physically, it's just like I kind of got my body and my rhythm back, right? I think it took a while for my body to kind of get reacclimated, get back into real football shape. Like I didn't really get started post treatment to like the beginning of training camp last year.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of getting back. I think now that's just I've gotten my body and my rhythm and my feedback, and it's just I'm very confident in that.
Okay, that first one I had to edit out because I'm trying to keep this video clean language wise. There was somebody in the background that said that basically they GD'd it. For the first one, that was versus Kalen Bullock. And then the second one was against Stefon Diggs. 1-1s are slanted towards the receivers, but I just want you to watch these. Don't focus on the defensive backs, who also happen to be Texans players. But his route running, the crispness, just how aggressive he is getting in and out of breaks. It looks really, really good. But he went on to talk about in more detail than he did in the press conference, I think, with John and Brandon, just how taxing the cancer treatment was on him, and just how it's not so simple as just coming right back.
No, absolutely. You feel different. Your body needs to adjust. Your immune system changes. You like totally there's a lot of side effects posted that you kind of have to recover from, whether you want to talk physically, psychologically, mentally, even like I said, your immune system. Like I didn't used to have allergies before, and now I get allergies and like little things like that.
Oh, he picked the wrong place to have allergies, man. It's brutal. It's brutal in Houston. I'm gonna have to talk to him about there's a Texas trifecta. My doctor told me about it the other day, which was 3 medications: Allegra, something else, and something else. It sounded like too much for my body to take. Look, this is what we've learned. Unfortunately, the Texans have had several players who have had cancer. In the case of David Quesenberry, you know, it was multiple years before he became a full-time starter eventually in Tennessee and Buffalo, but it took a long time. And Quesenberry was out here, you know, that first year after, I could tell he wasn't the same guy that he was even as a rookie. You could tell he didn't have the strength. He wasn't as physically imposing, and it took him a long time to build back into that. It's one of the better moments of the Texans Hard Knocks was Bill O'Brien's discussion with David Quesenberry. You remember that? So I've been very, very careful about even really like wanting to think about Metchie as an option or a guy that's going to, because it turns into, it turns into like something. It feels kind of meaningless in the face of him having a a life and death battle and a challenge. So for him to look the way he does right now, it's very, very encouraging. I saw one of you say that Cody Stutes said he was wide receiver 7. I think Cody said, at least when I heard, that he was saying there's like 7 wide receivers. So I don't know about that. I'll have to ask Cody about that tomorrow. The running faster than he ever has. This is interesting because this goes all the way back to Alabama.
I'm running faster than I ever have, and I think it's like all the injuries and this whatever in the past has settled. I got all those corrected, and just every little thing. Like I couldn't run in college like I can now for sure.
Okay, he dropped. He didn't manage to catch that last one. 2 points about the highlights that I was showing. One, he didn't catch that one, but I just wanted to show how much separation he got on Okudah, because Okudah is very fast. Okudah is he's a world-class athlete, or at least by football player standards, not by Olympic standards. And he's been running away from guys at times. A lot of it because he's creating such good separation on his routes. But then he has the speed to keep that cushion. So that's been very, very encouraging. The thing to get excited about, if you need to somehow, if somehow you're not brimming with excitement over a preseason game in which almost none of the starters will probably start, then get excited about the Davis Mills-John Metchie connection. Because Davis Mills has had some really nice passes this training camp, but he's been more erratic than I'd like to see. That would make me feel a lot better about him. But he has made some beautiful throws. And as often as not, the beautiful throws are to John Metchie. So they have a nice little connection here. Metchie's spreading his reps out between quarterbacks. So we might see some good stuff. The Davis Mills glow up, where maybe potentially the Texans get offered. Some quarterback goes down in a Kyle Shanahan system, because there's like 16 teams running the Kyle Shanahan system by now. If quarterback goes down, old fellow like Matt Stafford or something, who knows? But the glow up that Davis Mills might get by having a guy that's a veteran player by now, like he's been in meetings, he's seen NFL football, he's been in this system for 2 years now. John Metchie is that guy that can probably really shine in preseason games, because unlike a lot of the other receivers who are either young or new to the system, he will be where he's supposed to be, and he's going to get there very, very quickly. So let's take a couple questions real quick. Man, the routes this guy is running with the speed and explosiveness is crazy. Reminds me of Tank Dell. Can't wait to see Jawar Jordan get some snaps. Yes, as far as guys that I want to see play, Jawar Jordan, 100%. Really excited to see him. Pretty much the entire linebacking core. Now with Christian Harris has yet to be seen. We've seen him out there, just he's not practicing. It's a long ways until the season. I'm not nervous about it right now, but I would prefer I want to see Elshire and Christian Harris playing next to each other. I'd like to see a little bit of that in my life at some point. One of you had asked about Dylan Horton. Yeah, Dylan Horton, I'm in the same boat I was with. Scoots disagrees with 7 receivers. He has Xavier at 5 and Ben at 6. And then he's got Metchie not making the team. So Skoranek based on special teams must be. Does he have Xavier over Metchie? That's interesting. Okay. We've got 3 live streams going on all at once. I'm guessing if you're talking about Cody and who else? Because I don't think Landry goes until later, right? Support all of them. They're all good. As far as Dylan Horton goes, yeah, I'm in the same boat with him that I was in 2022 and really going into 2023 with John Metchie. He's got other things to worry about. And like one thing I've heard from multiple different people that have come through cancer treatment is you ring that bell when you leave the facility, but your work is not done there. There's a lot of recovering to do. There's a lot of literally getting the poison out of your system, So with Dylan Horton, I was encouraged by some of the flashes I saw of him his rookie year, and he's a guy that grew as he transferred from school to school, and as he went from safety in high school to linebacker in college, and then to finally in his final season, a hand in the dirt defensive end. he was very raw in some respects, but physically built like an Omenihu type of, maybe like a little bit bigger than Omenihu. So I'm intrigued by him, but I'm just gonna put everything on the back burner until he gets all that out of his way. John Metchie's gonna make this team, I have no doubt. British Brooks. Okay, British Brooks, yes. Yes. British Brooks. He's my Guy Ritchie minion. He's like he just reminds me of a guy that would be in a Guy Ritchie movie as the pleasant dude, but who'll break your thumbs if his boss tells him to. And it's exclusively because his name is British. I need to see him go against people who are trying to tackle him, not just stud him up. Because he's not marvelously athletic or anything, but he's a big dude. And in college, he would just you would push the pile and get 3 yards and do everything else that you want to. There's times out there right now where the Texans are struggling to gain 3 yards. I'm trying to put it off as, hey, the defensive line, even without Danico Autry necessarily, is very fierce. That's a potentially very formidable defensive line, and I'm including Foley Fatukasi and Mario Edwards in that. But they've got a ways to go. Laramie Tunsil coming back should make a difference. I think with Juice Scruggs and Kenyon Green, I think Scruggs is going to be fine. Kenyon Green still, I think, needs to tie it all together. And because some of the stuff that I get most concerned about are some of the mental errors that you see out of the young guys. So on those 3 guys, it's always hard to tell exactly whose fault it is in any given situation when they're not picking up a blitz or not picking up a game. But there's just times where they're obvious somebody's wrong, somebody's not on the right page, and that part you can get a lot better in that over the course of 4 more weeks. But it's not something I feel comfortable with right this moment. But that's why you practice. That's why you have all these games. I would like to see. I mean, I'm excited. I want to watch Blake Fisher. I want to see how he does. I want to see how he does versus the non-Will Hunters and Daniil Hunters and Will Andersons of the world. Not to mention the Derek Barnett's, like the crafty old Jerry Hughes, like all those guys got a whole bunch of tricks up their sleeves. And I think they're schooling the O-line in a good way, that those guys are learning a lot of lessons as they're out there. It's a great time to be a Texans fan when we are excited for a preseason game. I want to see what our depth pieces are like. Well, who are you looking for in the preseason? I'll tell you what, there's too many. I'll do a standalone. I'm traveling tomorrow. I'll do a standalone video with the specific guys that I want to watch for the preseason game, including kind of a preview of the Bears. I'll do it for you guys, but mostly I'll do it because I got to do a pregame show, so I got to do that research anyway. I've paid very little attention to the Bears yet. Got to do that hardcore over the next 48 hours, which you should listen to the pregame show with Sean Pendergast and I. We will start 3 hours before game time. And I think this game starts at 7, so we'll be on at 4 p.m. Central, the day of the game. And I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to Andre Johnson's ceremony. I've got a lot of stuff going on that I just can't figure it out. So, but I might be in Ohio for their practices on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to arrive in Ohio several days too late for the induction, but I'll be there for meaningless training camp practices. I gotta get to the Astros game. I gotta figure out if I like or hate Kikuchi. Seems to be I'm diving into the analytics to try to talk myself out of being concerned. What am I, an old guy concerned about a 4.7 ERA? Career 4.7 ERA.